want to. But that was the difference. It's like, I don't want to. You can't convince me to say yes when I already said no, you know?
Right.
Like, no
Right.
means no, and that's it. And so when I did finally decide, okay, this is something that I want to do because one, I enjoy doing it. And
Mhm.
two, they are good products. They're great products. And I think other people should be able to enjoy them.
Acting, who they attracting with that line? What's your name? What's your sign? Soon as he buy that wine, I just creep up from behind and ask you what your interests are. Who you be with? Things to make you smile.
Welcome back to another episode of Gold Keys. I am here with somebody who I have wanted to sit down with for a very, very long time, like since the inception of Gold Keys. And if you've been here for a while, you know that this is the third episode. I had two guests on prior, which amazing interviews. I have them in a playlist. Go check them out. I am sitting here with none other than the owner of Evasha Skin, one of my favorite, and I'm not joking, my favorite skincare brands, Chantyl. So how are you?
I'm well. I'm well. It's crazy out here, but I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. If y'all knew the ghetto-ness that we just experienced trying to get connected, okay? You might need to add a blooper section because that was wild. Um,
Listen.
Thank you for sitting with me. I appreciate it. Like I just kind of said, like it is so funny because when I think it was like maybe a month ago, when
Mhm.
I had tweeted about it, and I was like, looking for people, and you sent the eyeballs, and I was like, girl, you're already on the list. Okay. Like, I don't even know why you doubted that. All right. But just to, give a little opening, I want you to tell everybody about yourself, who you are, what you do, and anything interesting that you want to share. So I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay. Well, I'm Chantel. Evasia Skin is literally me. Evasia is my middle name. And I mean, Evasha Skin. I'm the face, I'm the brains, I'm the beauty, I'm everything behind it. I do everything for it. I currently reside in the Midwest. I'm in Michigan.
You
Um, Evasha Skin came about, it got the name and I started the business 3 years ago. I think it's been now three. But I started making all of my own products like 8 or 9 years ago. I was in boot camp and it was horrible. I was in Oklahoma
mm,
and it was in the winter, so it was cold, but it was dry, and that was the problem. But I had never experienced an eczema outbreak like the way that I did when I was there,
mm,
like on my face, like here all the way down. I was like scaly and nasty, and I was like, "What in the like?" I'm
yeah.
in Michigan. I'm in Michigan. We get bad winters,
Hmm. Hmm.
so that was new for me. And like my mom sent me a care package. I was like, "Send me anything," because all we had on base was Aveeno and I think maybe Jergens, which I tried. My nana used to use Jergens, better than
Hmm.
Aveeno, but did not do the job either way.
Mm-mm.
So I
Mm-mm.
was out there dying. I came home and I was still trying to get my skin together a whole 6 months later. And so that's how things kind of started. And it was not a thing like that I ever really wanted to like give to the public. Like I was behind closed doors making things for my family, for my friends, my sister, and you should sell this. You should sell this. And I'm like, no, I don't have time for people.
Felt, felt.
Like, because I don't like, so the whole thing now, that was like the inspiration. That was the thing. Like, I needed healing and I couldn't find it. So I gave it to myself. And I think later, I'm still like refining things and trying to get through things, and like things change every day. And I'm working on some different things behind the scenes right now. I'm not selling body butters. I don't do that in the summertime because I get a lot of customers in Texas and California, and it's hot.
Shipping, shipping, I already know.
It's
So,
hot and things melt.
so I think what I like, as you're talking, I'm sitting here kind of like piecing everything together. So, because I know you're a licensed esthetician.
Mhm.
So, did that come first, or did the just you healing your skin come first?
The healing my skin came first. The licensed esthetician path, I actually did that 2 years ago.
Okay.
I've always though like I will walk around in sweatpants and a t-shirt, jeans and a t-shirt until the day that I die. But
Hmm.
my skin is gonna be good, my eyebrows will be good, and my hair is gonna be combed.
Okay.
So that's always been my thing, like my skin, my hair, my nails, and all that. But especially my skin. Like I come from a family of people with sensitive skin. And I mean, as Black people in general, we know what that means. Like,
Yes.
there's a lot of things that aren't catered to us. There's a lot of things that just aren't good on our skin and stuff too. So, like, I didn't learn all these things until later. But like, once I started diving in, like, my grandma would tell me about how her mom made soaps, oils, and things like that. And I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So
It's
it kind of
in
just
the
came back around
bloodline.
circle. Exactly. And like, I remember this oil my great grandma had in the house because I did get to meet her and experience her a little bit up until I was about, I think, 11. She passed when I was in sixth grade.
Mhm.
But she had this oil in the house and they was oiling down their hair with it and it smells so good. And I'm like, where did you get this oil from? And it's got the little herbal floaties in it.
Mhm.
That she like, my mama made it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I remember that sticks. But so yeah, the esthetician part of it came last, but it wasn't a surprise that was like the route that I took too.
Yeah. It's two things that are very like interesting to me about that. Number one, like I swear, as Black folks, we have lived the same lives because I'm not gonna say for all Black folks, 'cause I don't know all Black folks, but I know in our household there was a lot of like homemade, whether it be oils, tinctures, butters, whatever, and like I didn't know up until I was maybe in like middle school that these things were homemade because they were just always in the home.
Right.
I also feel like it's very interesting that for a lot of us who do I guess you could say like services for other people, I guess you can say. It be in our bloodline already and we don't even know it. Like we just have a interest in it and it's just like, oh, okay. Also side note, if y'all didn't get her body butter, I hate it for you. Okay? Because speaking of sensitive skin, my skin is very sensitive. I cannot use barely anything. And so when I was reading on your website, like about your body butter, and of course, you're tweeting about it, sharing about it. I was like, let me. And it's lemongrass, child. Anybody that knows Mecca loves some lemongrass. Okay, popped it, y'all. When I say I'm using this sparingly, because should I
Listen.
run out, it's going to be a problem. Along with the Nourish cuticle oil. Follow me on Twitter. Y'all know how much I talk about this cuticle oil. Okay. So y'all know how I am. Shameless plug. Y'all know I am a huge supporter of other Black businesses because I feel like we all should be supporting each other. There's enough room for all of us. So go to her website, see what she has available right now, if she has anything available, and pick you up something good, okay? Because we love homemade. So
Absolutely.
my first question, official question is, how would you describe your spiritual practice?
Woo! It's like a game of Tetris.
Ain't it though?
That's how I would describe it. Like, I don't think I think a lot of us get caught up on routine to where you feel like everything has to be like this, and this. I do what feels right for me, like daily, day and night. If I feel like I need to get up right now and go do something, I'll do it. My spiritual practice is still something that's also being shaped. It's not something like I don't follow a specific practice. I don't follow a specific religion. I don't follow anything super traditional. It's just like a thing of, okay, this is the thing that's pulling me right now. Let's check that out and see what's going on. A lot of it is very ancestral and stuff too, though. So obviously that, like, I get inspiration from everywhere too. Like, I had a dream the other day about something. I did it, and I mean, those body butters sold out.
I was mad. I was like, oh, I didn't see the tweet until you tweeted saying it was sold out. I was like, oh.
My best friend said the same thing. She said, well, at least people are buying it, but I'm also
Exactly.
upset that I didn't get some.
Exactly.
But so, like, it's things change every day too. Sometimes they want something specific, and then like another week is something different. Me and that best friend were out a couple of days ago eating a charcuterie board and having some wine, and like they had these little peppers on there, and I tasted it, and it tastes like a spicy peach. And like the ideas that came to my brain just off of that, I'm working on it. Okay, I got a
Okay,
little
yes.
notebook. Like, I've been having a lot of imposter syndrome behind it too, so it's like I think refocusing and getting back centered and focusing more on myself and my spiritual practice has been helping that. And that feels really good.
I love that because it sounds like it's a very organic thing.
Yeah.
Like something that, like you said, like not thinking too much about it, just kind of doing what you feel called to do, pulled to do. And I think that a lot of us struggle with it, especially like neurodivergent folk, neurospicy folk. Because obviously I have ADHD, so I feel like everything has to be routine and I have to do this on a certain day. And it's like, and I'm learning that. I'm learning to be more listen to what they want. Listen
Right,
to what
right.
you call to. So I love that you said that. And I think that that's a very, very beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Um, my next question is how do, if it does, you feel like your spiritual practice and your creativity and your business all mesh together?
So I like that question because I think it helps me to think about that too. Because it's something that I think about often. Like, how do I incorporate these things into this? Is this a spiritual business? Is it not a spiritual business? Is it just my business? Like, what is it? I think that obviously a lot of it does have to do with, I mean, the bloodline part of things that we spoke about, because a
Mm,
lot of these things that I do come naturally. And it's not something that's forced. It's not something that I have to think hard about.
mm,
But also it depends on, I think that my spiritual practice has a larger part when I do a lot of custom orders, a lot of custom requests,
okay.
because then I'm doing something specifically for somebody that has a specific request. And I'm not talking, scent or like feel. It's like, I'm having this issue. Can you make something for it? And
Mm,
then it's like, okay, yes, I can do that. And then I'm like having to like, okay, what do I already know? And then what makes sense? And then
mm.
there's like intention and prayer put into these things. And then you get what you get. And
It's
I haven't
felt.
gotten a bad result yet.
The tension and the prayer is felt. Like there is nothing better than taking my everything shower and then popping some of this on. Like it's soothing, it's calming, it smells amazing, it doesn't flare my skin up. Like you got something with that. You got something.
That
But I
makes
love
me happy to hear because that one has a funny story. That one is called the original because that's the one who started it all. Believe it or not, I had a horrible experience with lemongrass. This was
really.
like 8 years ago. I bought some essential oils. This is when I first started working with essential oils too.
Mhm.
So I bought some essential oils. I was like, I'm gonna go take a bath. And I put some damn lemongrass in the bathtub. I am not lying. As soon as my skin touched that water,
Mm.
hives, instant hives. And my body felt like it was on fire. And I was like, what is going on? Am I dying? And I'm like, am I also like tripping? I get out of the shower though, my whole leg, because that was all that touched the water. The right side of my leg was completely broken out in hives. So that was like what prompted me to do more research in
Yeah.
essential oils and like into the things that like that was also like I got like an essential oil pack for like $15. I
Mm.
didn't know nothing about essential oils 8 years ago. I was like, I know that they're strong and they're potent and you have to be careful, which
Mm.
makes sense.
Mm.
And prior to using the lemongrass, I hadn't had an issue with anything. So I was like,
Mm.
this smells good. Let's try it out. No, horrible idea. So I was like scared to work with lemongrass again. So I started doing more research and stuff, and I found some things, and I made that body butter, and I was like, what do I want this to like smell like? What do I want this to bring to the table other than like this healing, nourishing feeling and stuff? And my brain said lemongrass, and I was like, girl, are you crazy? Yes. So I put the lemongrass and the vanilla together and I started real small and I just built up on that. And then that was that. And then I tried it and it is my favorite body butter. It is the one that's been around the longest and it's everybody's favorite. And she's good and she's got better essential oils.
Okay. This is definitely my favorite. Like you, when I say you did your big one. And I also feel like it's very, very funny that both of our like babies in terms of like the things that we create have to do with lemongrass. Because the first scent that I ever created was Alter. Um, and so when I saw that you had that body butter, I was like, oh, we're gonna do something
Yes.
with that. So I love that. And I loved that answer. There's something else kind of sidetracked, and I did write it down. But I wanted to talk about your period guide.
Oh,
I love that. So how did that happen? How did that come to be?
so that's my baby. I was always the friend in the group that didn't have a bad period. I didn't have a lot of cramps. I didn't have like, we would be out and I would be like, oh, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. You know, like, you just went to the bathroom. Well, I gotta go do this. You on your period? I'm like, yeah. What's wrong with you? Like, I'm like, what you mean? What's wrong with me? You know?
Why are you not dying?
Right? So I'm like, that really like clicked in my head too. And I was young. I was like, I think 14 or something with that conversation. And I'm like, huh, you know, I don't think nothing's wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with y'all? And I didn't mean it in like a mean way, but like, what is wrong, you know? And I think in 2016, I had came across this article. I think it's called Blood and Honey or Milk and Honey or something like that. And they spoke about the different seasons of your period and how that impacts you in different ways. And I had learned about endometriosis because one of my friends does have that. And I'm like, dang. And I also remember my mom was very open growing up, but like, she's also very young. My mom was very young when she had me. And she was very open, but like the puberty talk was not in the way that like I have a daughter now. Like I have that all planned out.
Yeah.
When we get there, it's going to be an actual conversation, you know, because kids have questions. And when I went to school, we did have the sex ed classes and we had to get the little paper signed or whatever. I got the paper signed. I go home after the class and I come home with this little brown paper bag full of liners, deodorant, pads and stuff. And I was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna start my period soon. And she was like, went off. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Yes. So it was just the thing, like, I went to school and I learned all this stuff at school when I feel like this should have been a conversation that happened at home and something that, you know, my mom spoke to me about in a way to where I could understand what was going on. And when it actually happened, she cried and had a fit and was like, you're a woman now. And that freaked me out, you know? So I wanted to create this guide for young girls to have so that they know, well, one, you're not becoming a woman. You're not. You're still a child. You're just experiencing something natural that happens to your body. And my niece is the first to have it. So the book is dedicated to her. There's a little dedication written in there. And I wrote the book sooner than I had intended because she was right there. And so, yeah, that's how she came about.
That's dope because I feel like that is a conversation that we need to be having more. Like, of course, I don't have children yet, but if and when I do have kids, like that's a conversation that I want to have with my child. Like you said, I had pretty much the same experience. Like, came home and mama snapped. Okay, like, what do you mean? So it's just like I feel like that's something very intimate, and I feel like also it's a great way to start having more of these conversations because I feel like even in 2024, as open as or as more open, I guess I should say, as we are about our periods and stuff like that, there's still like this kind of like taboo, like you could talk about it, just don't talk too loud. But we can't do that with everything that's going on in our country as it pertains to women reproductive health and things like that. Like we need to be having these conversations. So I thank you for writing that book because I know that's going to open up conversations and help other people. So thank you.
Yeah. And honestly, it came after, like, I'm working on another one, but it's for the older crowd. And because there's still a lot of women in the world, non-binary people who don't really understand how their bodies function. And it's still it's not as simple as the one for the minors and stuff, but it's still simple enough for you to be like, oh, okay, bet this is what's happening. And hopefully prompts you to do more research on your own and stuff too. But that one also doubles as like a journal and a planner is 52 weeks and it's undated because I am a person who grabs planners, writes in them, and then forgets about them. And I feel like that's such a waste. Like, give me the undated thing so I can always come back to it, you know?
Yes.
So that idea started because I was like, I need an undated planner. But I was like, it needs to be more than just a planner.
Okay.
So I did that, and then it has like 10 journal prompts in it to help you also connect with your body on a deeper level. Like there's questions in there that ask you like, which cycle or which season do you feel most connected to and why? Like things like that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun and I'm excited. I'm still working on that one, but I'm excited to give that one to y'all too.
That's so dope. That is so dope. What advice would you give someone looking to start their own business or their own side hustle?
Don't think about it too much. Just do it. Like if you get the idea and you want to do it, if you sit there and think about it too long and too hard, you're gonna talk yourself out of it.
Mm.
Because like I said, I started this 8 years ago and it took me 5 to even do it. Because I'm like, I didn't want to. But that was the difference. It's like I don't want to. You can't convince me to say yes when I already said no. You
Right.
know? Like no
Right.
means no, and that's it. And so when I did finally decide, okay, this is something that I want to do because one, I enjoy doing it. And
Mm.
two, they are good products. They're great products. And I think other people should be able to enjoy them.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I just did it. I just jumped in. So it's like a thing of like, it's also how I've always operated my life. It's a great thing and also can be a bad thing.
Mhm.
When you think about it, just jump on it, get it done, and do it. Like, don't think about it too long. Do the research and dive in head first because you're gonna make mistakes and you won't learn nothing if you don't make mistakes.
And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with is being afraid to make mistakes. I feel
Yep.
like, and that's why like I'm still open about my business and the struggles that I go through because I feel like a lot of people, especially business owners these days, because of social media, you get to see all the good stuff. Oh, I sold out, I did this, and that's great. That is beautiful. But what about how you got here? Like not to say that you got to tell us all your business, but
Mhm.
like how did you get here? Like, let people know, like, this is not going to be easy. There's going to be some days where you're going to question it. There's going to be some days where you're like, you feel me? So, like, I love, like, yes, do the thing and don't think about it. Like, just if it's on your heart, I'm a big believer, like, things are put on our hearts for no reason.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of that. And it's just like, we get in our own way sometimes. So, I love that. I love
Because
that.
like imagine like the story about the body butter and how that scent came about. Like imagine if I let that breakout be like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That breakout made me want to do it more. I was
Right,
like, I
right.
know for a fact there's something better. Like maybe this was just some cheap stuff. It's not really what it says it is. And like now I buy essential oils and I don't spend $15 for 5. I'm spending like $300 for 5.
Yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous, but it's also like I want to provide quality products. That is literally the point of this.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I mean, keep shopping at the grocery store and buying whatever you want to there.
Exactly, and not knowing what you're putting on it in your body. Like that's
Yep.
it. It's like even with Curated South, like everybody already knows at this point that we were supposed to start with candles. Like that was a selling point. And the vendor that I was going with for my vessels went out of business randomly.
Mm.
And everything else started happening. So I was like, okay, I already had planned to put out incense, and I was like, I could either be defeated about this and overthink it, or I can pivot. And that's why I was like, wait a minute. If the candles and the incense are gonna have the same scent, why not introduce them through the incense so that because it's hard to smell a candle online. Like you can't, there's no sniffer vision. You know what I'm saying? You can't smell it. So I was like, why don't we let this be an introduction? And it's the best thing that I have ever done. Like even the struggle, even with the struggles, even with the uncertainty, like all of it, it's the best thing that I've ever done. So absolutely, like do the thing, y'all. Like
Yep. And I completely agree. You really nailed it with those incense. Like, I can't wait for that. I've been checking the mail every day.
they on their way. I promise. I promise. So
Like, they are really good.
thank you. I really appreciate that. I do. So my last question is, what advice would you give to someone about a spiritual practice or your spiritual practice that you would wanted someone to give to you?
I think honestly the same exact advice, except you need to, I don't want to say use your discernment because that's a muscle and you really have to build it.
Yeah.
And people
Thank
throw
you for
that out
saying
there
that.
all the time.
Thank you for
People
saying
throw
that.
that word around often without telling people one how to even do that.
Mhm.
But you have to be careful. I think that's the thing that requires a lot more research and it requires a lot more conversations and it requires being open-minded, but
Mhm.
not so open-minded to where you're also being naive. And because it's easy to get taken advantage of, I think doing things in a way where kind of like how I described, doing what feels right. If it don't feel right, you don't need to be over there. If you have to ask, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Mhm.
So I think really walking that walk carefully,
Yes.
watching where you put in your feet before you go, because it can get sticky real fast
Mm-hmm.
and it can go wrong real quick.
Real quick, real quick. I love that you said that because all of that is a word. Like, I really feel like because we have so much access to
Yep.
things with social media, it's so easy to, and I've done it, like, it's so easy to get sucked in to things that's not even in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be practicing, what you're supposed to, like, and I feel like that's why it's so important for you to, like, one of the biggest things I tell people is check in with your body. How does your body feel about it? Like, your body will tell you everything you need to know. Okay, so like check in with self. Like, it's great that people are, online teaching and giving advice, but everybody's advice just isn't for you. So
Yep.
I definitely agree with that. So my last question is a shameless plug. Where can we find you? Okay.
I'm on Instagram. There's the business page. It's Evasha Skin, Evasha Skin, and it's the same on Twitter. And then there's my personal page. I post a lot of stuff on my personal page too, especially on Twitter because the business page is growing. It's small. It doesn't have a lot of followers. So I post on both pages. And my personal page on Twitter is Evasha, just Evasha. And then on Instagram, it's Chanevasha. Otherwise, you can head right onto the website, evasiaskin.com, and sign up for emails.
Can I just say how, like, first off, I love your website. It is so roomy. It's so homey. It's just like, it's so
Thank
cozy.
you.
I love your website. So what else do you have, if you're willing to share, coming down the line for the folks?
I think one, remembering that it's always okay to start over, because you saying that just warmed me up inside because it took me a minute to get it that way. Um, I don't know if you've seen the website before that. It was very bright and airy, which is not a bad thing, but it's not me.
Yeah.
You know, like we started this interview and I turned the lights off.
Mhm.
Like I like it to be low. They call that dark and moody, the aesthetic and stuff.
Okay.
And I liked my website prior, but I would get on my website and get right off. Like
Yeah.
I started feeling like, what's the word? Like I don't want to say defeated, but like I was like, I'm not into this, you know.
Yeah.
So I changed platforms. I was also on Wix, and I was like, I don't like this. I'm over it. I don't even like. I still had time on that membership, and I
Mm.
was like, whatever. I'm done here. I transferred my domain. I didn't care that I had already prepaid for it. I was like, whatever it is, what it is. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I started building a website over on Squarespace, and I really liked how it was looking. And I've heard way more like feedback on this website than before, which I love the feedback. I appreciate the
Mhm.
feedback, but I'm also a person who's going to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
And it felt good to me, so I gave it to y'all. And I like the other stuff is just extra reassurance, and that's nice too. But it's never a bad thing to start over. Sometimes you need to start over.
Yeah.
You can't figure out what you're doing, take a break, take a step back, and work with what you got. Part
Uh,
of some of the things that I sell too, some of my best sellers are things that I just have like laying around. I'm like, I'm trying to use up this inventory.
Yeah.
I'll post it on wherever, and then it's gone.
Mm.
So I think getting those ideas out are helpful too. It's like you have a shelf full of stuff that you need to get rid of. And that's like my ideas, right? And I just work through them until they're gone. And then like bigger and better things come to me.
Mm.
So
That's
I
so
think,
beautiful.
yeah, that's important to just let go and do what you do.
That's so dope. That is so dope. Well, I am excited for all of the things that you have coming for the people. Again, thank you for sitting with me.
Thank you
It-
for having me.
Of course, it has been a pleasure. I'm going to link all of her socials down below so you guys can go check out her products, check out all the other things that she has going on. Um, I would say get your body butter, but can't do that
It'll
until
be back. It'll be back probably August or September. But the
okay.
best way to know when they come back is to sign up for emails.
Sign up for the email list. Okay, because even outside of being updated about, the products and goings on, I appreciate your writing.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate the not even the stories, but just like the things that you share with us via your email list. So, guys, go
Thank you.
check it out. Of course. Again, thank you for sitting with me. If you guys have any questions, commentary, whatever, leave it down in the comments. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Be great, get bread, stay all the way alive, and with everything be intentional. Peace.
Thank you.
Acting, who they attracting with that line? What's your name? What's your sign? Soon as he buy that wine, I just creep up from behind and ask you what your interests are. Who you be with?